Hi fellow teachers, in this video, we are going to touch on the topic algebra, mainly focusing on one of the key ideas in this topic, which is patterns and relationships. We are going to demonstrate ways to differentiate an activity to accommodate students with mathematical difficulties and students who are mathematically advanced. Prior to this learning activity, students should already know the basic mathematical concepts such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The learning objectives for this activity are to describe the pattern rule for a growing pattern in words and determine any term given a term number. Now, let's look at this activity. A new strand of unknown virus has entered Malaysia. The Health Ministry is going to monitor the growth of the virus. The Health Ministry determines that this strand of virus grows arithmetically with a common difference. The table below shows the growth of the virus. For all of the students, these are the questions that can be asked based on this scenario. Instead of merely asking students to find the value of x in the activity, teachers can use probing questions to help students to get closer to finding the value of x. Examples of probing questions will be the first, second, and third questions in the activity. By doing so, they will be able to see the pattern that occurs in the number sequence and eventually determine the value of x. Now, to differentiate the activity above to accommodate students with mathematical difficulties, we suggest that teachers differentiate the way the questions are being asked by simplifying it. Besides that, there are also two other strategies teachers could use to accommodate the activity for students with mathematical difficulties, and they are visual patterns and number line. Visual pattern can be used to introduce algebraic concepts by drawing out figures to represent the number sequence. Relating it to the main activity, the figures for the number sequence can be drawn this way. On day 1, we have 5 people affected, and this would be the visual pattern to represent the number of people affected. When we draw the figure, we always start with a row of squares that reflects the first number in the number sequence. It means that if the first number in the number sequence is 5, we would draw a row of 5 squares.
As we move on to day 2, this would be the visual pattern to represent some people who are affected. Teachers might want to ask students to think about how they could get from 5 to 7 and show them that they can add 1 square below each end of the row. Moving on to day 3, this would be the visual pattern to represent 9 people who are affected. Similarly, we can add 1 square below each end of the row, resulting in the addition of 2 squares in total. Another strategy to explain the pattern of a number sequence to the students with mathematical difficulties would be the number line. Teachers can draw a number line to represent the number sequence by starting with the first number in the number sequence, which is 5, up to the last number in the number sequence, which is 17. Teachers can then ask students to highlight the numbers that are in the number sequence. From the first highlighted number, teacher can ask the student to draw skips to the second highlighted number. While doing this, students would have to count the number of skips and write it on top of the skips. This is repeated for the next consecutive highlighted numbers. By doing so, students will realize that the pattern here is the addition of 2. These are the questions teachers could ask the students with mathematical difficulties. To solve these questions, the teachers could use one of the 2 strategies that were suggested to probe and guide the students to determine the value of x. Now, for the differentiated instructions for the mathematically advanced students. Teachers can ask these extended questions on top of the given questions in the activity. For the first question, students would have to truly understand the pattern rule and think beyond the number sequence given. By doing so, students are being challenged to think of a more effective and faster way to find the number of infected people on the 20th day. As for the second question, students can think of other ways to represent the number pattern. For example, instead of 5, 7, 9, 11, students may generate another number sequence based on the pattern rule that they have identified, such as 2, 4, 6, 8. Also, students can use expression 2n plus 3 to represent the number pattern if they have an advanced algebraic thinking. This is where they have developed a sense about numbers and operations and the patterns inherent in them. We have presented the strategies you could use to accommodate mathematically challenged and mathematically advanced students. Hope you find this helpful for your future lesson, and thank you for watching. Happy teaching!